I want to begin this video with something most people don't expect to hear from someone in their 70s. I regret moving into a nursing home. Not because the staff is cruel, not because the food is terrible, not because it's a nightmare every day, though some days are harder than others. I regret it because I didn't know the whole truth. There are things no one tells you about what it really means to give up your home, your routine, your privacy, your pace, and enter a system that treats aging like something that needs to be managed rather than honored. If you're over 60 and you've been thinking about transitioning into a nursing home, or someone you love is facing that decision, this video is for you. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Not to shame anyone who already made the move, but to shine a light on the parts of this decision that often stay in the dark. And I want to say this right now, in the first few seconds, because it matters. If you're navigating hard choices in your later years, and you want a space that speaks truthfully to your experience, please subscribe to this channel. Every week, we release honest, reflective conversations for seniors who still deserve clarity, dignity, and a voice in the decisions that shape their final decades. Now, let's get honest. There is a moment in life when you realize your home is no longer as easy to manage. The stairs get steeper. The hallways feel longer. The quiet gets louder. Maybe your children live far away. Maybe your partner is gone. Maybe your health isn't what it used to be. And slowly, the suggestion comes. Sometimes from well-meaning kids. Sometimes from a doctor. Sometimes from a whisper in your own heart. Maybe it's time to move into a facility where you'll be safer, have more help, be around people your age. And the brochures look nice. The staff is friendly. The rooms are clean. The food is okay. You take a tour, and it all seems manageable, peaceful even. But then, after the boxes are unpacked and the door clicks shut behind you, something else begins to sink in. And that's what this video is about. Because what no one tells you is that the grief doesn't just come from leaving your house. It comes from losing 100 tiny freedoms you didn't know mattered until they were gone. In this video, I will share 6 hard truths about moving into a nursing home. Truths I've lived. Truths others have shared with me behind closed doors. Truths that may challenge the comfortable image of assisted living that's sold in glossy pamphlets, but that every senior deserves to know. Some of these truths are emotional. Others are practical. Some will be hard to hear. But all of them are shared with one goal: to help you make the most informed decision possible before it's too late. Let me be clear, not all nursing homes are bad. Not all staff are unkind. Some people find community, safety, even joy in their new setting. But even in the best of places, there are realities no one prepares you for. And if someone had spoken these truths to me before I moved, I might have chosen differently. Or at least, I would have entered this chapter with open eyes, not just hopeful ones. So before we begin, let me ask you, have you ever felt the pressure, spoken or unspoken, to give up your home and enter a facility, simply because that's what people your age are supposed to do? Have you ever wondered what really happens after the tour ends, after the smiles fade, after the adjustment period begins? If you've been through this, or are facing this decision now, drop a comment below with the word listening. Just that one word. Let others know you're here, and you're not alone. And if you find value in this conversation, even just a flicker of recognition, please, like the video. The more engagement this message receives, the more seniors it will reach. Seniors who are quietly asking the same questions, but afraid to say them out loud. Because silence helps no one. Now, let's begin with the first truth. One that most residents only realize after they've moved in, and by then, it's already too late to go back. Stay with me. This is not just about regret. It's about reclaiming your right to decide how you want to live and where. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most shocking realization I had after moving into a nursing home. You lose more independence than anyone tells you. Not just the obvious things, like cooking your own meals or driving your own car. Those you might expect. But the loss goes deeper, quieter, and it seeps into the fabric of your day until you wake up one morning and wonder, When did I stop deciding my own life? Here's what people don't explain in the brochures. Independence in a nursing home is not freedom. It's structured convenience. You can press a button and get help. You can ask for lunch and someone will bring it. You can sign up for an activity and someone will lead it. But spontaneity disappears. Choice narrows. And the rhythm of your life becomes something decided for you, not by you. Let me give you a simple example. Waking up. At home, if I wanted to sleep in, I did. If I wanted coffee before showering, I made it. If I wanted to read in bed until 10, no one questioned it. But in the nursing home, there's a schedule, a knock on the door. Time for your bath, Mr. Thomas. Don't forget breakfast ends at 8:30. Would you like to join the morning chair exercise group? And sure, it's polite. It's organized. But it's not you. Not really. At first, you try to adjust. You tell yourself, it's just a new routine. I'll get used to it. But over time, a different voice begins to whisper, one you haven't heard in years. Where did my freedom go? You feel it when you have to ask for snacks between meals. When someone tells you the shower schedule. When your medication is handed to you like clockwork, no matter how you feel that day. You start to feel managed, contained, tamed. And no one talks about the emotional cost of that. Because when you lose control over small choices, you start to lose a piece of your identity. You stop asking what you want and start wondering what's expected. You stop initiating and start complying. You shrink, even if you don't mean to. Let me ask you, when was the last time you did something simply because it felt good, not because it was on the schedule or approved by a nurse or available in the facility calendar? If it's been a while, I want you to know this. It's not your fault. The system is designed for safety and efficiency, but not for autonomy. And yes, I understand the need for routine in these places. Staff can't tailor everything to everyone. But what no one tells you is that over time, you begin to accept limitations that were never necessary in the first place. You stop asking for special meals. You stop requesting quiet time. You stop challenging the schedule. And worst of all, you stop dreaming beyond it. If you're watching this and you've ever felt yourself slowly slipping from independence to compliance, even before moving into a facility, drop a comment below that says, I still want choices. Let those words be a declaration to yourself and to others who feel the same but haven't said it aloud. Because aging does not mean surrendering your voice, and support should never come at the cost of your agency. If this first truth resonates with you, if it stings a little because it's hitting home, then like this video now. Let's push back together against the quiet erasure of independence that too many seniors experience without warning. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because the next truth is even harder to admit and even more important to understand. In nursing homes, loneliness doesn't disappear. In fact, it can deepen. We'll get to that next. Stay with me. The hardest truths are the ones that can set you free. One of the biggest promises made by nursing homes and assisted living centers is community. You've seen the advertisements, smiling seniors playing cards, gathering for movie night, walking in courtyards with new friends, surrounded by laughter and light. The message is clear, you won't be lonely here. But here's what no one tells you. Being surrounded by people doesn't mean you'll feel connected. In fact, for many of us, the loneliness in a nursing home doesn't disappear. It deepens. Let me explain. When you move into a facility, yes, you're around others your age. But that doesn't mean you instantly form bonds. You're strangers thrown into the same space, each carrying your own grief, your own history, your own walls. And while there may be events, ice cream socials, bingo nights, they often feel like distractions, not true relationships. Surface level, polite, structured. No one warns you that you can sit at a table of 6 people and still feel invisible. Because what we're craving at this stage of life isn't just activity, it's authenticity. It's being seen. It's someone remembering your story without you having to repeat it. It's feeling known, not just accommodated. And in nursing homes, where turnover is high, memory loss is common, and most people are focused on their own survival, that depth is rare. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time someone looked you in the eye and asked, "How are you really doing?" and then waited, with care, to hear your answer? If it's been a long time, you're not alone. That ache is real, because what most facilities offer is company, not companionship. And there's a big difference. Company fills the room. Companionship fills the heart. And here's the deeper truth most won't say out loud. You start to protect yourself. You stop reaching out because you've had one too many shallow conversations. You stop opening up because people come and go so quickly. You stop expecting connection and start learning how to numb the ache. And that loneliness, that quiet grief, it doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just hums beneath the surface of your smile, and no one notices until it's too late. You might go days without real conversation, weeks without a hug, months without hearing your full name spoken with warmth. And the irony is heartbreaking. You moved here to feel less alone, but sometimes it's the most alone you've ever felt. If you know this feeling, if you're living it now or fear it in your future, comment below with the words, "I want real connection." Let that be your signal to others watching this, that we're not meant to walk these later years in isolation. And if this truth has touched something in you, something tender, maybe even painful, like this video, because loneliness is one of the greatest silent epidemics among older adults, and the only cure begins with honesty. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. This channel isn't about feel-good fluff. It's about naming the real experience of aging, so we can face it with courage, not denial. In the next part of this journey, we'll talk about something many seniors never expect. How easily you can lose your sense of identity in a place where everyone is treated the same. Don't go anywhere, because your story still matters, even if the system forgets to ask. There's a slow unraveling that happens in nursing homes. Not all at once, not loud, but steady, quiet, relentless. It begins when people stop calling you by your full name, when staff refer to you as room 204 or the gentleman in the hallway, when your favorite chair is replaced, when your clothes go missing in the laundry, when no one knows that you used to run a business, raise a family, play an instrument, speak 3 languages, or build furniture with your bare hands. And suddenly, you are no longer seen as a person with a life. You are seen as a patient, a resident, a task on a clipboard. And it hurts, not like a wound you can point to, but like an invisible fading, a soft erosion of the parts of you that made you you. Because here's the truth. In many nursing homes, efficiency slowly replaces intimacy. People mean well. They do. But when one nurse is caring for 15 people and aides rotate shifts every few days, no one has the time to really know who you are. They know your medication schedule, your dietary restrictions, whether you're a fall risk. But they don't know that your late wife's name was Joan and you still dream about her. They don't know that you always drank coffee black, never with sugar. They don't know that when you were 24, you stood on a stage and sang to 2,000 people. And if no one remembers these things, you begin to forget them, too. Let me ask you, when was the last time someone asked you to tell a story from your life? Not just about your health, but about your heart. When you live in a place where function is prioritized over history, it becomes too easy to be reduced to a diagnosis. You start saying less. You stop correcting them when they mispronounce your name. You stop offering opinions because no one asks. You become quiet, even though you used to be vibrant. And the most dangerous part? You begin to believe it. You begin to believe that your story doesn't matter anymore, that your wisdom isn't needed, that your voice is too slow, too shaky, too outdated, that your life is now only about waiting, for meals, for medication, for sleep, for visits that come less and less. And that lie, that quiet, cruel lie, is the most damaging part of all. Because you didn't just move into a building. You moved into a system that, without meaning to, erases identity in the name of care. But you are not just a resident. You are someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's teacher, soldier, neighbor, storyteller. You are the sum of decades, not just the shell of today. So here's what I want you to do. If you're watching this and you felt yourself disappearing, not physically, but emotionally, I want you to leave a comment below that says, "I still have a story," because you do, and someone needs to hear it. And if this part of the video stirred something in you, a memory, a pain, a truth you've never said out loud, please like the video. That simple click helps push this message to others who may be quietly wondering if they've become invisible. And if you haven't already, subscribe now. This channel isn't here to pity you. It's here to reflect your power back to you, to remind you that you're still a name, a soul, a force. And in the next truth, we'll go even deeper, into something most families don't realize until it's too late. The care may be there, but the dignity? That's something you'll have to fight to keep. Let's keep going, because your dignity is not optional. It's essential. If there's one word you'll hear again and again when discussing nursing homes, it's care. They'll take good care of you. You'll have 24-hour care. You won't have to worry anymore. You'll be cared for. And yes, care is essential, especially when health declines, when mobility weakens, when medical needs grow more complex. But here's the truth they don't say out loud. Care without dignity is not care at all. And that's the line no one warns you about, until you've crossed it. Until you're sitting on a cold plastic seat, half-dressed, waiting longer than you should for someone to help you finish using the bathroom. Until you hear two aides talking about you like you're not in the room. Until you're told, gently but firmly, that no, you cannot have a shower today because your slot was yesterday, and no, it can't be changed. Until your body becomes a task, a checklist, an object to be moved, washed, fed, restrained, or redirected. And all the while, something inside you whispers, "This isn't how I thought my final years would feel." Let me be clear, not all caregivers are disrespectful. Many are deeply compassionate, overworked, underpaid, and doing their best. But the system itself, built for efficiency, not humanity, often forces even the kindest workers into routines that treat your body like an object, not a vessel of a sacred life. And you feel it in moments that seem small from the outside. When someone enters your room without knocking, when they undress you without explaining what they're doing, when they speak to you in a tone better suited for a child than a grown adult, when they talk over you, not to you, when they assume you're confused before giving you the chance to speak. And over time, you begin to shrink, not because you've lost who you are, but because no one seems to see it anymore. You tell yourself to be grateful, to stay quiet, to not complain, but inside, the grief grows. Because dignity isn't just about how you're treated. It's about whether your autonomy, your privacy, your sense of self are honored, even when your body isn't what it used to be. Let me ask you, and really think about it. Have you ever felt the sting of being handled, not helped? Of being cared for in body, but ignored in spirit? If you have, I want you to know, it wasn't your fault. Needing help should never mean losing respect. Requiring assistance should never mean giving up your boundaries. And if you're watching this now, whether from a facility or considering one, I want you to write these words in the comments. My dignity still matters. Because it does. And because someone else might need to read those words today, to be reminded that even in places where control is limited, self-worth should never be. If this truth unsettled you, if it brought back a memory, or exposed a reality you've been quietly enduring, like the video, because this is how change starts, not with anger, but with acknowledgement, not with blame, but with bravery. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. This space is for truths like this, for people like you, for conversations the world too often ignores. Next, we'll dive into a truth that many families overlook entirely. Why moving into a nursing home doesn't always ease the burden on your loved ones, and sometimes creates new ones. Keep watching, because this story isn't just about regret. It's about reclaiming your voice before someone else writes your ending. One of the most common reasons older adults are encouraged or pressured to move into a nursing home is this: you'll be less of a burden. You hear it in their voices, your children, your caregivers, your friends. We just want you to be safe. We won't worry so much if you're being looked after. We can't do it all anymore. And so, out of love or guilt, or both, you make the move. You pack the photos, the slippers, the favorite chair. You leave behind the home you built, thinking, at least they'll have peace now. But what no one tells you is this: moving into a nursing home doesn't erase the burden. It simply changes it. Sometimes in ways no one anticipates or talks about. Let me explain. Yes, your family no longer has to lift you in and out of bed. They don't have to schedule your doctor visits, manage your medications, or worry that you've fallen in the shower. But now, they carry a different kind of weight. The weight of wondering if you're being treated well when they're not there. The guilt of not visiting often enough. The discomfort of seeing you in a place that feels more like a hospital than a home. The pain of hearing you say, "I'm fine," when they can see you're not. They may call less often, not because they care less, but because it hurts. They may seem distant, distracted, even short-tempered, not because you're a burden, but because they feel powerless in a system they don't control. And you sense all of it. You feel their hesitation, their sadness, their retreat. And maybe, just maybe, you start to feel like even more of a burden than before. And so the silence grows between you, not out of neglect, but out of emotional exhaustion, not out of selfishness, but out of quiet heartbreak. Let me ask you something that might feel difficult. Have you ever found yourself telling your family, "Don't worry about me," even when deep down, you wish they would? That's the emotional cost no one calculates. Because the burden doesn't vanish when you move into a facility, it just becomes more complex. It moves from the body to the heart, from logistics to longing. And that's why this truth matters so deeply. Choosing a nursing home should never be based solely on the hope that it will unburden your loved ones. Because real connection, real support, real peace, those things don't live in buildings. They live in presence, in honesty, in shared decisions made with full awareness, not quiet desperation. If you're watching this and you've ever felt that hidden weight between you and your family, if you've ever felt like your presence has become too complicated for others to manage, I want you to write in the comments, "I still matter to them." Not because you need to prove it, but because it's true, and sometimes, writing the truth is how we remember it. And if this part of the video made your chest ache, if it reminded you of calls that go unreturned, visits that grow shorter, or words you haven't spoken, like the video, because there are thousands of others feeling the same silence, and they need to know they're not alone. And subscribe if you haven't already, because what we're building here is more than a channel, it's a community, one where your story, your voice, and your worth are never too heavy to hold. Next, we're going to face one final truth, one that may be the most important of all. Why your regret isn't just about the building. It's about what was left unsaid before the decision was made. Don't leave now. You've come too far. Let's finish this together, with truth, with courage, and with your dignity intact. By the time you sit alone in a room that isn't yours, by the time your mail is forwarded, your name is on a clipboard, and your favorite mug has been replaced with a plastic cup, by the time the new routine has settled in and the old life has been packed away, the real regret begins to speak. And here's what it says: why didn't I say something sooner? Because the truth is, regret doesn't just come from where you are, it comes from what you didn't say before you got here. The unspoken worries, the fears you buried to keep the peace, the questions you didn't ask because you didn't want to upset your children, your spouse, your doctor, the silent nods you gave when what you really wanted was to scream, "I'm not ready." And now you sit in a room where everything runs on someone else's time. You eat when the bell rings. You shower when the slot opens. You smile when the aide enters. And inside, a voice that once knew exactly what it wanted whispers, Why didn't I fight harder for what mattered to me? This is the final truth. The one no one writes in the guidebooks or says during the family meetings. The deepest regrets are rarely about the building itself. They're about the silence that led you there. And so I say this to you with all the gravity it deserves. If you're still at home, if you still have choices, if the decision hasn't yet been made, speak now. Speak while your voice still carries weight. Speak while your desires still have shape. Speak before others make a plan that feels best for you, without ever asking what you really want. You have the right to say, I want to age in place. I need more time to think. I'm afraid of what I'll lose. I'm not ready to leave my home. I want help, but I don't want to disappear. And if that conversation never happened, if you're already in the place and the door behind you is already closed, then let this be the truth you carry forward. It is not too late to reclaim your voice. You may not be able to move back. You may not be able to undo the decision, but you can start speaking. You can ask for what you need. You can tell your family the truth, not to blame them, but to free them from assuming you're fine when you're not. You can ask your caregivers to see you as a person again. You can write, reflect, advocate, and be heard. Let me ask you something now, as plainly as I can. Is there something you wish you had said before the move? A sentence, a feeling, a fear, a request? Write it in the comments below, even just a line, because saying it now, even here, even anonymously, might begin to release the regret. You can start with this simple phrase. What I wish I'd said was. Let it out, because someone watching this right now might still be in their home, still weighing the decision, still unsure, and your words could be the very thing that helps them speak before it's too late. And if this final truth cracked something open inside you, if it softened a hard place, or gave shape to a regret you've carried alone, like the video, not for me, not for numbers, but so more people can find this message before the silence makes the decision for them. And subscribe, because in this space, no regret goes unheard. No story is dismissed. We speak not to complain, but to reclaim. To reclaim our dignity. To reclaim our choices. To reclaim our voices before they fade into the background of someone else's plan. In the final section of this video, we're going to bring all 6 truths together, not with despair, but with direction. Because while regret may have brought you here, wisdom is what you carry forward. Let's finish strong. You've made it to the end, and maybe, like me, you're carrying more weight now than when we began, not because you didn't know these truths, but because someone finally gave them a voice. Let's look at what we uncovered together. You lose more independence than you expect, not in dramatic ways, but in the quiet erosion of choice, of spontaneity, of agency. Loneliness doesn't disappear, it deepens, because community isn't about proximity, it's about presence. And most days, what we crave isn't company, it's connection. You begin to lose your sense of identity, not because you forget who you are, but because fewer people bother to ask. And so, you begin to ask yourself less and less. The care may be there, but the dignity isn't guaranteed. And without dignity, care can start to feel like containment. It doesn't always ease the burden on your family, it changes it. It replaces physical strain with emotional distance, guilt, silence, worry. And the deepest regret? It isn't about the building. It's about the words you never said, the choice you didn't claim, the fear you buried, the life you didn't fully protect. But here's where this video must end differently than it began. Because regret is real, but so is power. And no matter where you are, at home, in a facility, in a place of uncertainty, there are still things you can do. You can speak about what you need, about what you wish had been different. You can share your story, your warning, your wisdom. You can guide those who are coming after you, those who haven't made the decision yet, those who think they're alone in how they feel. And most of all, you can reclaim something sacred. Your right to be seen, to be heard, to be treated like someone whose life is still unfolding, not just wrapping up. Because aging is not the end of your voice. It is the deepening of it. And if you found yourself nodding through this video, whispering yes in the quiet moments, feeling that mix of anger, sadness, truth, and clarity, I want to ask you to do 3 things. First, leave a comment. Say, I still have a voice. Say, this is my story too. Say, I wish I had heard this sooner. Say whatever is on your heart, because your words will echo in someone else's silence. Second, like this video. That click may seem small, but it helps this message reach someone who's sitting alone, right now, wondering if anyone understands what they're going through. And third, subscribe, because this channel isn't about views. It's about you, about holding space for real, raw, unfiltered truths that honor what aging actually feels like, not what the brochures promise. Let me say this plainly. You are not invisible. You are not selfish for feeling what you feel, and you are not too old to demand more from this chapter of your life. If you've moved into a facility and you're wrestling with regret, know this, your story still matters. If you're considering the move and you've been told it's your only option, know this, you deserve the full truth before choosing. And if you're a caregiver or a family member watching this, unsure what to do, then let this video be your invitation to talk with your loved one, not about them. Ask what they want. Listen without correcting. And remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is slow down and let them speak. We'll be back next week with another truth, another reflection, another conversation that no one else is having, but that we need to have. Until then, hold your head high, speak what's real, and don't let anyone decide your life for you in silence. You've come too far for that. You're not just aging. You are arriving. And you deserve to arrive on your own terms.